Man, you can just feel the tension in that one sentence, can't you? A coach just watching his team get taken apart, completely helpless on the sideline. That single moment, it pretty much captures the entire story of a rivalry game that turned into an absolute rout. Okay, let's get right into this, because this game was a huge statement. We're going to break down how Kentucky delivered an absolute clinic against Vanderbilt. And believe me, it all started with one player just catching fire. So our story kicks off with a total explosion, and the guy who lit the fuse was Colin Chandler. I mean, from the opening tip, he pretty much decided this game was going to be his. That's how many three-pointers he hit in the first 2 minutes of the game. He came out with zero hesitation, just ready to put on a show for everybody. You know, this quote from the announcer just nails the huge mistake Vanderbilt was making. You simply cannot leave a guy who shoots 46% from three-point range wide open. It's like a cardinal sin in basketball, and Kentucky was more than ready to make him pay. And bam, he does it again. A third triple. The defense is scrambling all over the place, but it's way too late. Chandler is completely in the zone, and the energy in that arena is just electric. It was a total barrage. In what felt like the blink of an eye, he had a dozen points. A dozen. We're just minutes into the game, and this guy has already taken it over. That's the kind of start that can just completely demoralize a team. And this quote, it just perfectly captures the feeling for Kentucky. Everything was working. Perfect execution, perfect shooting. It was a flawless start, all fueled by Chandler's red-hot hand. But you have to wonder, could it last? All right, so every good story needs a little bit of conflict, right? Just when it looked like Kentucky was about to run away with the whole thing, Vanderbilt started to show some signs of life. They actually started to fight back. So this becomes the critical point in the game, right? Kentucky's firing on all cylinders, so could Vandy somehow stop the bleeding and claw their way back into this thing? Well, their answer came in the form of a guy named Tyler Tanner. The broadcast crew literally called him a magician, and you could totally see why. He's got this incredible speed and this uncanny ability to finish at the rim, finding angles that you just don't think are possible. And hey, it wasn't just Tanner. The whole team started to click a little bit. Here you see Duke Miles with a beautiful feed for an easy bucket. This was Vanderbilt finally finding its rhythm, proving they weren't just going to lie down. So you've got this awesome contrast going on. On one side, you have Kentucky's team-wide explosion, and on the other, you have Vanderbilt trying to answer with these individual flashes of brilliance. You could really feel the tension building, which style was going to win out. But right when Vanderbilt created that little glimmer of hope, Kentucky just slammed the door shut. They took that little punch, weathered the storm, and then came back to deliver the knockout blow. And this was the moment. A lazy pass, and Kentucky's Oweh just jumps the lane. He's off to the races, clear path to the basket for an easy score. The crowd just went nuts. You gotta love this quote from the broadcaster. It's perfect. Because it wasn't just 2 points, it was a devastating turnover that felt exactly like a pick six. It completely sucked all the air out of Vanderbilt's comeback attempt. And there it is. The coach has no choice. He's got to call a timeout to stop the bleeding. But you could just tell the momentum has swung for good all the way back to Kentucky. That play was an absolute backbreaker. So what did all that dominance actually look like on the stat sheet? Well, the numbers really tell the story here. It was a total mismatch. Kentucky was shooting over 50% from three, forcing a bunch of turnovers, and getting huge contributions from their bench. It was a complete team effort that Vandy just had no answer for. And the shooting, oh man, it just kept going. You know the classic basketball saying, if you don't get a hand in the shooter's face, you're gonna get burned. Well, Kentucky just kept proving it right, hitting shot after shot. But what's really fascinating is how they were getting these easy looks. They were running this simple but super effective play where the defender gets sealed off by the center, freeing up the shooter for a wide open shot. That's just smart, disciplined offense, and it's absolutely soul-crushing for a defense. So, what does a huge performance like this really mean in the grand scheme of things? Because it's not just about one win, it's about sending a message to everyone else. This game was basically a highlight reel of what makes this Kentucky team so dangerous. You saw the incredible sharpshooting, the defense turning into instant offense, that crisp ball movement, and just this confident, aggressive way they played. They looked like a team that could make a really deep run. You know, the announcer at the end really summed it up perfectly. A convincing, dominant win in front of your home crowd.
For Kentucky, it was pretty much a perfect day of basketball.
And that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? They looked like a legit championship contender in this game. But was this a one-time thing, or is this the version of Kentucky that's going to show up when the stakes are at their highest? I guess only time will tell.